Hey guys, Joe here, and here I'm to talk to you about if you should have a secondary. Now, personally, I've decided for myself that I do not think I will be going down the secondary route, so this may be a little bit of no secondary for you, but at the same time, it may be giving you some, yes, I can do it as a secondary. I would not personally recommend a secondary to middle-level players. If you are, or lower-level players, if you're high-level, of course, pick up a secondary, but middle or low, I would say maybe not do it. It is all up to you, though, or at least don't play your secondary way too much. But with that all said, let's get this started. Now, my first point is that if your character mostly has 50-50 matchups, it's a lot better to just practice your main on the really bad matchups they have, then get a new secondary just to beat the matchups. Let's say you have only 5 or 6 bad matchups with your main. You can just learn those matchups, and then you'll pretty much do good against everybody in the game, or you can try to learn an entire new character, learn all of their matchups, and then it's just really hard. Especially, it's hard because it's hard to practice your secondary against only those characters, unless you have friends that only play them. And online, a lot of times you won't fight people with the same characters, so it's really hard to practice, just that one character versus just those counters. So, really, I'd recommend if you have mostly 50-50 matchups, just pick up a main and just be good with that. Next, it takes a lot of devotion to have a main and a secondary. Now, this is not saying that you cannot do it. If you are a devoted person to your main and you really like them and you also really like your secondary, then that's good with you. But if you're always really janky, you don't know what you're gonna do, you don't know who's your main and your secondary, I'd recommend just pick a main and just kind of ignore the secondary until you played a lot more with your main. If you put in a lot of hours with your main, then you'll finally start to think, okay, I'll start to play these guys. But if you've only put half the amount of time because you've had a secondary, you may be thinking maybe I should switch my secondary and stuff like that. And the next thing about this that kind of leads on that is that a secondary may sometimes make you want to stop playing your main. Now, this is if you aren't devoted, but I know a lot of people aren't quite as devoted as they would like to be because they do have a secondary. At least I personally know some people. Maybe this doesn't happen to you, but I know this can sometimes happen, and this has happened to me, where you pick up a secondary, you always do well as them, let's say you pick up Sheik as your secondary, and then you just want to stop playing your main. Let's say you just main up, Bowser Jr. or someone, you just stop playing them, and then because Sheik does better, and yeah, it just kind of sometimes secondaries can do that. Next, secondaries will not cover all of your bad matchups. Now, when people talk about secondaries, they usually yes, pick your secondary, it'll cover your bad matchups, and then you'll win. It's not like traditional fighting games where usually, there's all these good and bad matchups. It's really kind of hard. First off, there aren't really many matchup spreads. I may just do a video in the future if you guys really want one, where I try to help build a matchup spread just for one character and then tell you how to build one for yourself. It's really hard to make a matchup thread. It's just kind of hard to see what to do to pick your secondary, as far as matchups, bad matchups go. But also, even if you pick a secondary that can cover some of your bad matchups, it won't cover all of them. Sometimes your secondary will be bad at the same matchup as your main, and then you're just in trouble, and you haven't put as much time into your main, so maybe you aren't ready for that matchup with either of them, and yeah, it just can be really hard, and they won't always cover your bad matchups. Next is that there isn't really a reason for a secondary for the very top tiers. Now, this is something that's just kind of because this game isn't the most balanced game in the world, but for someone like Sheik, for someone like Pikachu, for someone like Xerxes Samus, maybe not here quite as much, for someone like all those type of people, they're very good. They have pretty good matchups for everybody in the game, and you don't really have to ever have a secondary for them. They're just good. So, for those people, there really just isn't much of a reason to pick a secondary. So, it's not really a bad thing, just there isn't much of a reason, and really, if you're playing one of the top tiers, you might be playing a secondary for fun, like a low tier secondary, but still, you don't really need one. Now, next, if you are playing a bottom tier, then you will probably need a secondary for a lot of your bad matchups. Probably a middle or a high tier secondary, to be honest, but at the same time, that can help you, that can make you sometimes give up on your main. But if you want to do well in tournament, you're going to have to learn your good matchups, but moreover, you're going to have to learn your bad matchups. You might be able to main 2 lower tiers or mid tiers that you really enjoy, and then just be able to, see who's better at the bad matchups. But a lot of the times, if you do have a bottom tier, you just have to make sure that you do have a secondary. But if you're playing a mid or a high tier, most of the time you won't really need that. Next, this is a good thing about secondaries, so for all you people that have them, this is one thing that's really true. Secondaries, a lot of the time, at least for me, make the game a lot more fun. They make you get into a lot more situations. You have to learn the matchups all over again, which some people may think is annoying and boring, but I think learning the game is just fun, in my personal opinion. So I think having a secondary makes it a lot more fun. It lets you pick a lot more characters, and yeah, it just lets you enjoy the game quite a bit more. But at the same time, I would say do not try, well, not really, this isn't quite connected, but I would say do not try to have 4, 5, or 6 secondaries. That's never good. You're not, that's you're just setting yourself up for failure. Make sure that you only have one main and one secondary. You could have some more people to play for fun, but don't try to play them all competitively. Just play them for fun. So yeah, just don't try to play a ton of characters for competitive reasons. It won't go way too well. Just one or two, and then play the rest for fun. That's just a little side note. And then finally, if you put in all the time for your secondary and for your main, this is the good thing about the secondaries. If you put in all the time for your secondary, put in all your time for your main, then you will become someone that's better than someone else just with one main. Having two people that you're good up, you know all the matchups better. You know how to play the game better, you know how the game works better, the physics, you just know a lot more about the game because you have two characters, but at the same time, you will have to play a lot more of the game. And I mean a lot, like 200 to 300 more hours. That's a lot of time. You have to put in all that time. A lot of people just won't bother to put in the time and have a secondary. If you do have the time, if you know that you can be devoted, I'd say definitely go for a secondary and a main, unless you have a very high tier, then it's not quite useful. But if you have a middle or low or even kind of high, I would say definitely go for a secondary and a main, but you will have to put in a lot of time. If you're not willing to put in the most amount of time that you possibly can, just play one character. It'll make you become a lot better, a lot faster. You may not have as much good matchups, and you may not just, be quite as good as the people with secondaries, but still, you'll do fine. You'll do a lot better in tournament than if you had a secondary that you weren't very good with and a main that you weren't very good with. It's much better to have one good character than two average characters, pretty much. So, yeah, I would say secondary for sure if you put it all the time, but if you are not ready for the time, don't go for the secondary. Hopefully this video helped you a little bit. It was kind of just telling you in your situation a bit what you should do, telling the main pros and cons of having a secondary. Of course, I don't think I'm going to be having one for a little bit until I find one that I really like or that I really need. But having one for yourself is of course very good, and of course at high level tournament it can be very useful. Thank you guys for watching though. Tell me in the comment section below what your ideas are. I know this was a little bit anti-secondary, even though at the end I did say secondaries are good. It's a little bit anti, so if you have any really good reasons why secondaries are good, which I know there are a lot, then tell me in the comment section below. I actually do believe in playing secondaries, but for a lot of people it just doesn't seem like they have enough time. So thank you guys for watching though, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.